Welcome everybody to the first week of 2021, This Cat Can Ball. For those of you that remember this from last year, welcome back. For everyone that's new, this is the show where we take one player every week, whether they are undrafted, they've been a bench warmer for a long time, and we give them their moment in their spotlight. Naturally, you're not going to see the likes of Patrick Mahomes, DK Metcalf, or Jalen Waddle. These guys are already established ballers, or they're big-time prospects who we're pretty sure they're going to be amazing, right? This year is going to be a little bit different. I'm switching it up to be more like a radio show, a little bit of a listening show. So there's not going to be much in the ways of visual graphics and whatnot. I think it's a little bit easier to just kind of listen to it rather than looking at stats on a screen, right? So yeah, let's talk about this year. It's going to be a lot of big changes. One of them is that we're going to 17 games this year. It's a big deal, right? We're used to 16. Actually, in the Super Bowl era, the Super Bowl as we know it, we started with 14 games back when the Super Bowl started in the 60s. It wasn't until 1978 that we got 16 games, and all the records that we know have been established, right? One of the biggest ones, though, is 2,000 yards. That was actually done by O.J. Simpson back in 1973. So he did it in 14 games. And since then, even since 1973, we're coming up on 50 years. Only 5 players have ever done that. So it's not like the 2 games really gave everybody a big boost. OJ was just so amazing back then. I mean, these days he's famous for different things. But we've only had 5 guys that have gone to 2,000 yards. And now that we're adding one more game, it's not going to be that big of a deal, right? I don't think it is. There are so many guys that have led the league in rushing that weren't even close. So one more game is not that big of a deal. And even then, we still have single game records. That's going to be a big deal of itself. So that's where we can just go ahead and establish records, right? Okay, what's a big deal this year besides more games? Rookies. We had 5 rookie quarterbacks go in the first round, right? 3 of them made their starting debut, and they were all pretty lackluster. The biggest one, of course, the biggest name, Trevor Lawrence. Biggest quarterback prospect since Peyton Manning. How did Peyton Manning do? He threw 3 picks. The next biggest prospect we ever had was Andrew Luck, threw 3 picks. How did Trevor Lawrence do? Threw 3 picks. So it wasn't too big of a big deal. Him, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones all started. They all did meh, right? But who did great as rookies? Receivers. There's going to be a really big trend coming up this season with second-year quarterbacks paired with rookie receivers, and they already started paying dividends. You had Joey B with his LSU buddy pairing up with Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. You got Jalen Hurts and the Slim Reaper, Devontae Smith in Philadelphia. Tua down in Miami has Jalen Waddle. These guys have already produced. This is week 1. So if you haven't picked them up in your fantasy league, maybe a lot of you already did because they're just, like I said, they're such hot prospects. And it's just a unique pairing. Second-year quarterback and first-year receiver. They're amazing. Get them on your team and start them. Speaking of fantasy freaks, there was also some freak bizarro incidents, especially in the running game. Derrick Henry, Mr. 2,000 yards, just a bone-crushing rusher, right? We talked about 2,000 yards being such a big deal. He actually did it. He's one of those guys that got 2,000 yards. How did he do? He produced beans in week 1. He got shut down big time by the Cardinals. Who else is a big time runner? Zeke Elliott. He put up only like 40 yards of total offense. Zeke the Plumber. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe no one knows that name. I've been calling him Zeke the Plumber since he came out of Ohio State. No one knows that. Did no one watch Salute Your Shorts? Does anybody remember Michael had those nightmares of the guy that had that really weird mask and he had bandages over the mask, which is like the creepiest thing in the world?
Friends call me Z.
Creepiest thing to ever come out of Nickelodeon, that's for damn sure. Also bizarro was Aaron Rodgers, right? He just got completely shut down, didn't look like his former self. Maybe he's just getting too old for this. He lost that loving feeling. One of the craziest predictions, and rightly so, it was meant to be crazy, was that he might be involved in a mid-season trade.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, I think that's just ridiculous. It was meant to just kick up dust. He's entitled, right? He's been solid for 15 years. He has 1 week off. Give him 1 week off. Trust me. If you got him in your fantasy league, sorry about week 1, but he's going to bounce back. So yeah, talking about quarterbacks, it is clearly a passing league, right? There was quite a few guys that threw over 50 passes. First game of the year, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, they both went over 50. They both put up great numbers. So if you had either one of those guys, Dak Prescott, who's actually probably going to be looking as the front runner for comeback player of the year, and rightly so. He did a great job with the Cowboys. Unfortunately, they didn't pull it out, but Dak looked great. If you had him on your fantasy, good for you. Just talking about fantasy picks, rookies, and those are all Trevor Lawrence. And this is going to segue into who wins the award for This Cat Can Ball. It was actually a Jaguars tight end. This is the first time we've had a tight end. Last year we had quite a few receivers, quarterbacks. We had a running back, I think a cornerback, even a defensive lineman, and a kicker. But this is the first time we're getting a tight end. James O'Shaughnessy Tight end out of FCU, Illinois State. Trevor Lawrence threw 51 passes, which is just ridiculous. I don't think a rookie should be throwing that much, but I'm not in the NFL. I'm not coaching an NFL team. All right, let's break it down how he did. He himself had a pretty good game. He had a solid game. Let's look at how great he can possibly be this year and why he might be a good fantasy option down the line this season. Trevor Lawrence threw 51 passes, right? 30 of them went to starting receivers. So you got 21 left. 8 of those passes went to O'Shaughnessy. He caught 6 for 48 yards. That's pretty good. If you're in a PPR league, that's solid. It's not great. I mean, your tight end isn't named Kelsey well, you still have some good options. But this guy is going to be a great starter. And down the way, he's a big guy. He's going to be a red zone target. I guarantee you that. He's going to be a good pickup. And for his showing in week 1, helping out Trevor Lawrence and putting up pretty decent numbers for himself, he showed
This cat can ball, man.
And we actually have an award from this year. This is the award, This Cat Can Ball. It may look like a boxer, but trust me now, it isn't. That is him fighting the odds. This one goes to O'Shaughnessy this week. He's going to be the first tight end and the week 1 winner 2021 This Cat Can Ball award. This one's for you, O'Shaughnessy. That's going to wrap it up for this week, folks. If you like this show, please make sure to like and subscribe. This is going to be coming out every week once the NFL games wrap up. Leave a comment below if you did like it or the things you want to see different. Maybe you didn't agree with the choice this week. Maybe you thought maybe it should have been to someone else entirely. The whole point of this show is that it's usually going to be someone that you didn't even think about. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified whenever they come out. And like I said, every week, we never know who it's going to be. We've had defensive linemen. We started off with a kicker. The very first This Cat Can Ball was a kicker. In any event, that's going to wrap it up. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care.